everybody. I hate that part of the call. It's like everyone leaves me and I'm like, bye. I guess I'll see you later.
Morning.
So, how is everyone starting the day off? How was your motivation?
Great.
What did you do before the motivation call this morning that got you moving?
What was that question?
Coffee.
Coffee?
Yeah,
Well,
lots of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
I had about 20 horses that wanted breakfast, so.
That's it? 20? Sweet.
Yeah, somebody else did the other ones today.
Okay, good. No, the one thing I want to know is what do you guys do in the morning? Like, what's your morning startup like before you get on that ramp call, or is that ramp call your startup?
Miracle morning.
Miracle Morning. Tracy talked about like 23 times, and I still haven't finished that book. I downloaded it, though. I got to finish my book about Area 51 first. Sorry. Priorities. Okay? I really wanted to know what was going on with the Ox Cart. If you guys don't know what it is, it's the SR-71 Blackbird project. As a kid, I actually got to stand next to the SR-71 and take a picture. They took the camera, but I got to take the picture. So, welcome, guys. Today, we put up some resources for you on the website. If you didn't see them on 1kwsa.com, we actually added a resource tab where you can see a lot of the script items that we've been talking about, the pivot scripts that have been coming out. So good stuff for you to go out there and check out. These are the pivot scripts that were put out from our bold coaches for this time and change. Get on there. Let's actually review them and look at them. So that's where some of the scripting goes to. But I want to touch on what Amanda talked about earlier, which the needing of extra fees to close. So we need to tighten down our ability to have conversations with clients, right? Go ahead.
I said yes, absolutely.
Yeah, with lending changing its guidelines, there's a lot of banks out there that are indeed changing their credit criteria. I think it's good for us and it behooves us to have a conversation and kind of work on a tactic so that we can have a conversation that's very high-minded with the client. That may have been, qualifiable 2 months ago, but not today. Right? Amanda, you want to run us through one of those conversations?
Sure.
Okay. Who wants to be Amanda's unqualifiable buyer? Angela will.
I was on mute, so I had to wave.
She was waving.
Okay, here we go. What do I do? How do we start?
Good morning, Angela. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I just wanted to touch base with you today, and I know that we've been looking at houses and that, we had a pre-qual going. We've done a little bit of credit repair to get there. I don't know if you're aware, but there's been some changes in the lending industry throughout all of this craziness that's been going on. I don't know if the lenders touch base with you or not. Has that happened?
I did talk to him, but I guess I would love it to be explained to me a little bit more because it's new to me, so I was a little confused.
Right, so basically what's happened is the investors that were buying the credit scores that were not considered, A paper, so over 700, 750 credit scores, those investors have kind of pulled out at this point. So, the different lenders are having to take more risk in order to basically do your loan. That doesn't mean that we can't get it done, but it might mean that we have to get a little bit creative. I just wanted to make sure I was touching base with you so that you didn't hear this stuff on the media, see what was going on, and just feel discouraged and like, now I'm not able to buy a house.
Oh, good. Well, I was concerned because, he did say that I needed to work on my credit for the next 12 months. And I thought, gosh, that's such a long time. And I'm so worried that the market will change. My score is like 610 right now. And so he told me to continue to work on my credit before he would be able to do a loan for me. Is that true?
It might be true for that particular lender. There are some other lenders that I know that probably can do your loan with a 610 credit score. But the difference is we're going to have to get a little bit more creative. So at a 610 credit score, your loan is probably going to cost a little bit more now than it cost previously. So that means that, you know, we were going to ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. So we were already, you know, we had talked about that. We were already going to roll that into your offer essentially. But now what we're going to have to do is probably ask for the seller to pay a little bit more in closing costs. So we just really want to be aware of that with the other things that we're offering and making sure that our offer is really as clean and strong as possible.
Oh, okay. Are the sellers okay with that? Or are we getting is any of them pushing back on having to give more money?
Well, you know, that happens in every market. So really, it's all going to depend on how motivated the seller is. And, you know, if you really want that house, then we'll work our hardest to make a deal work out for you.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds good. I guess we should start looking then for some houses.
Yeah.
Is that the next step?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What it does mean is that we, you know, on our team, us working together, probably going to have to keep in mind that we're going to have to be a lot closer to full ask, or maybe even have to push that loan a little bit over. So we'll just have to evaluate every single property on a case-by-case basis. But it's definitely not a no. It's just may mean that we have to work a little bit harder, and I'm definitely willing to do that to help you.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Then if you could put together a list of houses that we could start looking at, and then we can figure out which one works best for me, that would be good. And hopefully we can find a house and a seller that's willing to work with us.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, the first step that I'm going to take is I'm going to reach out to a few of my lending partners and find out which ones will actually still do loans with a 610 credit score. So I'll reach out to your lender, and if he says that that's not something he's able to do, then we're going to connect with a few others and see what our options are. After we get that all squared away, then we're going to start looking at houses.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
All right, perfect. You are very welcome. I will send you a list of a few of these lenders later this afternoon, and then if you could, you know, do your legwork and reach out to these guys. Once we have a yes, which we will get, we'll move forward from there.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I'll be waiting.
All right, perfect. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
It was good.
Good stuff. So I love that she's putting it back on her as an agent. Like, yeah, I'll take care of it. Let me work for it. Let me call the lender. So good stuff. Awesome. Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Any takeaways from that, guys? Anyone awake?
Have multiple relationships with many lenders.
Good point. Great point. What does she mean by that, guys? Having a lender that will do a lot of things. So A paper, B paper, C paper, D paper, E paper, and WOW paper.
Yep.
Do you guys know what we're talking about when I say paper? The type of loans, the qualifications. So cool.
And I liked how Amanda showed her client that she's looking out for her best interest. She's in her corner, and she's the one that's advocating for her client. That was really nice. Yeah.
One thing I picked up that was really important is when Amanda says, you know, we need to be pretty aggressive on our pricing, even at full, if not a little bit over, to push that loan a little bit. That's a conversation you should definitely have. So that's a great script right there is, hey, I know this is a different time that we're going into. So when we're looking at houses, we need to keep in mind that we might need to ask the seller to provide us a little bit more on the closing costs so that we can, you know, accommodate your loan. In doing so, we need to be really aggressive on our offers. And most buyers are like, what do you mean by that? I was like, typically in a market like this, we're going to see multiple offers. So for us asking for some closing costs, we're making our offer less attractive. So we need to increase our offer to closing to the offer amount, to the asking price, sorry, or if not more than that. I've even had people talk about, you know, whatever we need in closing costs, adding to the offer price as long as the appraisal will support it.
Right. Make sure you do your comps.
Definitely, yeah. That was next point is make sure that the comps will support it. So
Yeah.
you don't want to.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is that, you know, from the first conversation that I have with buyers, I'm setting expectations. So, you know, I don't ever want my buyers to walk into a situation where it's not something that we've at least touched on or talked about at some point. So, you know, from the get-go, we're talking about, you know, like this was setting the expectation for pricing. Like chances are you're going to pay full price for a house, if not more, if you're asking for that amount in closing costs, because the seller's going to look at the bottom line. You know, or whether that rolls into inspections or benzers or appraisals or any of that, just, you know, in a conversation, you're setting those expectations from the very beginning, because then when the situation comes up, you're able to refer back and say, remember when we had this conversation that this was probably going to be the scenario that we ended up in? Here we are.
Amanda, the other thing too for feedback, outstanding confidence in the conversation.
Thank you. I do it a lot. But I think, you know, being confident in what you're saying is hugely important, because, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but I use the word yes quite a few times. It may, you know, just because this person's giving us a no, we will get a yes. We're just going to have to work for it. We, you know, use that word yes.
Good stuff. So confidence comes from, like she said, she does it a lot. So scripting and role play. And I know I'm pitching to the choir at this point because you guys are always joining in, but just the importance of practice and getting through it. So who wants to run through a call like that as an agent? Blah. Angela, you want to do the back? Come on, you already did the client side.
Amanda I don't know if I can meet her standards.
We're not comparing ourselves to others. We're comparing ourselves to what we used to be.
I'll try.
Can't meet it. Maybe not yet. You will. Let's do it.
Yeah, I will someday for sure. Okay, I'll try it.
Are we just going to flip the roles? Is Amanda going to be my buyer now?
Yeah, I'll be better.
All right, run with it.
Hi, Amanda. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So I know you are interested in buying right now, and our concern was just working on your credit. So I just wanted to let you know that though, you know, we did talk to one lender, we do have multiple lenders that we can talk to that might be able to help us out. So I just don't want you to lose confidence or anything in this, because I'll make sure that I travel every avenue to get the best. Oh gosh, see, I'm already getting.
So what if I start off, and what if I said to you, you know, so I'm really glad you called me this morning, because I got a call from my lender last night, and he told me that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to buy a house right now because, you know, my credit score is only a 617, and they can't lend below a 620. So, you know, at this point, I'm just kind of stuck. So I was going to touch base with you and let you know that I'm just going to renew my lease for another year, and then hopefully we can move forward after that.
You know, I hear you. I understand that you might want to renew your lease, but I would really appreciate if you could give me a chance to talk to a few other lenders as well. And maybe you can help me with that too, because some lenders can be a little bit more lenient and have different guidelines that we can, and we can be a little bit more creative in how we get this loan. So how would you think about us reaching out to a few other lenders, seeing what they say? Just because you spoke to one doesn't mean they all are going to say the same thing. And
oh, really? I didn't realize that credit scores could be different. I just thought that was just a standard.
No, we have, like I said, we do need to be creative. So here's another way to be creative as well. We can also talk to the seller and see if we can increase the closing costs. Now, you know, with that, he may want us to at least offer the asking price for the house, or even a little bit more, just because we don't want to take from him and not give him any kind of benefit whatsoever. So we just might have to be a little bit more creative in how we actually go out and present ourselves when we want to buy the house.
So would you think that since I'm going to have to ask for more money and ask for things like that, do you think that puts me in a bad spot as far as, am I going to be overpaying for my house now because because my credit score is not high enough? Or what would still be the benefit to me doing this over just renting for another year?
Well, I think right now is a good time to be buying in this market that we're in. And I don't think it is bad for you to pay if you have to pay asking price or a little bit more. We'll make sure that you don't pay more than what is comparable to the area. We definitely won't do that. And the thing is we don't know what it will be like in another year. We don't know what the interest rates will be because right now with the feds going ahead and doing 0%, I don't feel like that could go on forever. So my concern would also be that if the interest rates go up, that's going to affect your monthly payment on your new home. So I would like to be able to talk to some other lenders and see what they can do for you. And if we could do that, at least let me try that. And if you don't feel comfortable after all is said and done, after I've reached out to the lenders and tried to do the best I can to get you a good loan, then maybe, yeah, you can consider your option of renewing for another year. But what do you say we try at least to talk to at least 5 more lenders and see what we can find out?
I think that sounds like a good idea. I don't have to let my landlord know for about 10 days.
Okay, so then what I'm gonna do when we get off this phone is I'm gonna get a list of 5 lenders that I know very well, and I'm gonna go ahead and get their information, and I'm gonna send it to you so you can reach out to them so that they can also pre-qualify you. And then why don't we go ahead and talk, today's Tuesday, let's touch back on Friday and see what you found out.
So is it gonna, I know we've been working really hard to get my credit score higher. If I have five lenders run my credit, is that gonna mess me up? Because everybody always tells me when I run my credit, it lowers my score.
So there's a certain time frame where yes, it can affect it. It's usually a soft hit. I hope that's right, because it was for me when I bought my house. Okay, see, I'm not sure how to answer that one then.
So that's good. So
Yeah.
I don't know, we want to just end it right there. But so when you're shopping for a mortgage, there's a certain time frame where you can shop for mortgages and it's not going to affect your credit if you shop for mortgages within that window. It's actually a guideline that's put in place to help protect borrowers.
Yeah.
What is the time frame?
It's about 3 weeks.
Okay.
I think it's
So then-
about 30 days, something like that, yeah.
So then they need to, if they're going to run her, they need to run her within those 3 weeks so that it doesn't affect her credit, right?
Yeah, and typically my answer to that question is that, you know what, I'll consult with these lenders and I'll find out the answer to that for you, because we definitely don't want to damage your credit.
Okay, so research first, and then once maybe we get a lender that says, oh yeah, I can work with someone with 617 after they have all the information, and then
Right.
that one can run the credit. That makes sense.
Yeah, or you can have multiple ones run it, but you just don't want to ever say, oh yeah, it's not going to hurt your credit score, and you find out that maybe they're 35 days past and it does actually hit their credit score, because then they're not going to be very happy with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Ella, you had a question?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just I don't know. So Angela was the buying agent, and what was the name of the other lady who was the buyer? Amanda?
Amanda.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Angela.
Hi.
Sorry,
Hi.
no, I was just listening to the conversation because I just had something like that happen. And well, it's a VA loan. They were okay 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Not now. Okay. So their credit score, over 600, but under 630. I'm just going to leave it at that. And
Yep.
We've dealt with several lenders. The problem here is as well, it's that a lot of time the buyers then get really frustrated and get really confused. So I don't give them the opportunity of going on a wild goose chase. The credit score is not going to change at this time. However, we can see what options we have to make the credit score better in the future. Okay, and to see if that is an option then. It's just a thought. And if I have, let's say, maybe 3 or 4 lenders that I trust and rely on for different subject matters, if the agent, contacts them to kind of get a feel for the situation, then I can guide my clients, in the right direction as well. So,
Yeah, I'm not going to tell my client to go out and find a lender. I'm going to find the options and I'm going to give those to my client, and they're only going to be lenders who can say yes. I'm not going to send them to a no.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, it's just something that I experienced just now, even with the lender, that they do manual underwriting and it still wouldn't work, So,
Yep.
and I don't know, I've had clients like that I've worked with for over a year because they've had credit problems or there were things to be paid off. And my suggestion to them was, let's see what we can do in the situation. And then maybe you have the option to go on a month-to-month basis with your house or with your rental. So whenever we are ready to buy, we can make it happen without any difficulties. So, that might be another option, because you don't want them to get in trouble with their landlord, or lose the place that they're currently renting, or be stuck in a lease that
stuff.
they're in. So
Good stuff. Awesome,
anyway,
guy.
something I wanted to run by you guys, and I appreciate those meetings. So thank you.
Thank you, Miss Bella. Appreciate your input. Awesome. Anyone else have anything? We ran Amber off. Bye, Amber. So one great way is like the conversation kind of was like, you know what? I think I'm going to hold off for a while. I'm going to rent for another year. How do you stop that train of thought and allow you the opportunity to move in with some ideas? You guys want a good script for that? Before you make up your mind, and then you can insert, let me talk to my lending partner that I think can help you out, and have them give you a call. You know what? I think I'm going to wait for another year and rent. I completely understand that you want to rent for another year before you try to get your credit, situated and see what the market does. But before you make up your mind, see how you can use that as an interlude to something else? It's a thought pattern interrupt. So, use that when you're having these conversations to steer a conversation in your direction. Is before you make up your mind.
I think before you make up your mind is awesome. I use that a lot. And then I think the other thing is to try, and at this point you should know your client. If you're having conversations about lenders and credit scores, and typically at this point you're already working, right? You're already working deals and looking for houses. So I think it's important to circle back to that motivation of why they wanted to buy a house in the first place. And, coming down to what, if you're able to make this happen for them, and what the cost of renting would be for them, not just monetarily.
Right. Amanda, I'm just going to wait. I'm not sure that I want to buy right now. My credit was bad and it's getting better, but the lender says that I can't qualify right now. And I think I'm just going to, wait another year and see what the market does. My credit will come up by then. I'll be able to pay off some things. And, I think it's just something I should hold off on.
So I think that, that's a pretty common thing that we're facing right now with a lot of people. But before you make up your mind, I know it was really important to you to get your family into a house in the school district so that your kids could start school in this, this school in the next year. So I say, let's give it our best shot. Let's see if we can find somebody that does give us a yes answer and can still make this happen for you and your family.
I'm motivated. Let's go. I'm in.
Boom, drop the mic.
Right. I love that because it's her confidence in her tone, and it's not so much exactly what she's saying. She's saying great things. It's how she's saying it. It's kind of like a coach. She's like, come on, guys, we got this. Don't give up now. We're right there. The finish line's right there. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna find somebody to give us a yes. I love that. This might be my favorite script call yet. That and it's Purple Shirt Tuesday. Might be a thing.
I'm gonna have to go buy a purple shirt.
Yes, you will. I'm wearing gray Dickie shorts and a purple shirt. Don't judge me.
But I think, I think that's really important to remember. You keep coming back to confidence, but the reason that you're having this call right now is because somebody has already either told them no or shaken their confidence in some way. They're feeling unsure. So if you can feel sure about what you're saying, and that this is what they want, and that this is the right thing to do, and you come from a place of motivation for them, not from you, always come from a place of contribution and getting them to where they want and need to go. That's huge. That's really important. They need somebody that feels strong and confident, because right now they don't They just were told that you're not good enough to do this. And the truth is that's not the truth.
Absolutely correct. It's on us to shepherd our clients along, right? We need to be the light in the storm. We need to be their shining example. We need to have hope when there is no hope to have, except for hope's on the call. So we have hope. But I love it. Good stuff, guys. Anything else before we wrap up? There's going to be a really cool Gary Keller call for coaching. I don't know if you guys get the Zoom link, but go to our Connect page. We're going to have those listed up soon. So we're going to be posting a lot more of this stuff. We're going to have a YouTube channel set up. So all of our scripting, mindset calls, motivation interview calls, and all those things that we've been recording, we're going to put online so you guys have a little bit easier use of, digesting this stuff after the fact. But I want to say thank you to Amanda for always giving us some excellence in the morning while you're feeding your horses. We know how difficult that can be.
You're very welcome.
Always a pleasure. Anyone else have anything before we kind of wrap up? We got a couple more minutes. We can talk some random script or give something that you need some work on or where you're struggling with.
No, that was really good. That was really helpful. Thank you, Amanda, for your help. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
I have a question.
Yes,
I understand and this goes along with the script. Like, if we're pushing that and they do find a lender, but at what point do you take a step back and say, okay, this person is probably not ready to own a home?
Great
question. Who are you to say they aren't?
That's what I was going to say.
That's why I asked the question, because at some point when somebody becomes house poor or can't, make that payment, or, you don't want them to end up foreclosing, that it could go down a difficult path as well. So, and who's to blame? Me, because I pushed them to find the right lender and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know we can't concentrate on that. However, it's got to be on my conscience.
Well, yeah, and one thing you're looking at is the word push. If you're pushing them into a house, you're making the wrong choice.
Right.
If you're pushing them to make a decision, different situation. If you're making a decision for them, then you're to blame. I have actually pulled people out of houses and off of contracts because lifestyle changes, and because of that, I don't want them to be house poor. Yes, you can afford this house, but it doesn't make sense that you pay all of your money into just this home. And working with a good lending partner will help you with those conversations too. My lender, I love him. His name's Steve Lemons. He's a bald dude at Fairways. Awesome, man.
Do I use to you?
You using too, Amanda? Yeah. So he will call you and say, no, this is too much house for your client. Like, they can afford it, yeah, but they're going to be broke. This doesn't make any sense.
He will flat call you and say, this buyer should not be buying a house.
Yeah. So that's when you have a good relationship with a lending partner. And as a client, if you feel like there's something wrong, like there's an amiss, English is tough. If there's a miss, then you need to have that conversation with your client. Say, listen, I don't feel like this is the best decision for you. This is why. And then have that conversation. Be very candid, be very grounded, come from contribution. But if you feel, and if you genuinely feel that somebody is making the wrong decision, you as an agent, as a fiduciary to that client, need to have that conversation along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But never will I advocate you pushing somebody into a deal or strong closing somebody into a deal.
No.
And that's not what we do.
And I hope that there are, I'm new at this, so hopefully there are lenders that will say, hey, Amber, this person should not be buying a house right now. However, it's that one of those things, who is that person that's going to dictate, like, this person should not be buying a house? Because, sometimes clients aren't upfront with, their agent, and because either A, they're embarrassed, or, they don't want to feel like okay, well, let's go look at a house. And then they turn around and say, oh, I don't want to buy a house. And they may feel obligated. Like, you don't know what they're thinking, so I wouldn't want to, well, let's find you a lender, and then they're like, okay. So they don't know, because I'm sure there's people out there that don't want to waste your time, but they feel like they've already invested time in you. So let's kind of go down that road type thing. And that's where, you know, obviously role play, it's good and helpful. So thank you, Amanda and Angela, for role playing, because I did learn a lot today.
Awesome.
I think it's important to help people get to where they want to go, but you know, as long as they want to go there, it's your job to help them get them there. If you have somebody who is doing something that you don't feel like it's in their best interest, you know, it's okay to let them know that and to help them understand that. But typically what I try to do is say, you know, this house is going to be this. You know, we've had these conversations. Why don't we look at some other options and see how those options look on paper, and maybe see if your comfort level is better in this situation or this scenario. And a lot of times that happens, you know, because maybe they are feeling a little tight, but you show them something that, you know, let's look at a house that costs $50,000 less and send them a really great house, and then show them the numbers, and then all of a sudden it's okay, like it's good. At least then you've presented them with the options that they have. But at the end of the day, it's not your job to make their choice for them. It's your job to help them make the best choice and, you know, guide them to where they want to be.
What I like to say is you're there to help them make a well-informed decision. And I've said this line to my clients before. I'm going to make sure you make a well-informed decision. If you make a bad decision, it's going to be a well-informed bad decision.
Correct.
They usually laugh, but I tell them, like, I'm going to tell you all that I can. You're going to be well-informed. So,
but
guys,
at the end of the day, it is their decision. You know, you have to. It's not yours. So.
Yeah, and I put the link to that Gary call if you guys want to be on that for today. It's the Confronting Reality. He's going to be on there doing an interview. I put it in the chat. You can take that link, copy it, and throw it in your URL. It should pop up the KW Connect link for that. But otherwise, you can jump on the calls and be part of that if you want to. Other than that, have a good day. Go do something awesome. Thank you, Miss Amanda, for your time. Y'all go do.
Bye, guys.
Go do.